Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good afternoon, depending where you are. Happy Tuesday. Today, we are going to get into our event planning playbook. So a couple of things. Number one, be prepared to write. So today's session is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be very interactive. So in listening to your feedback, remember we ask you all those questions, we write those polls, we ask you for your answers. We actually take the time to read those all. So what I wanted to do today was an interactive session, which would kind of be like more like live coaching, right? So who here wants to do an event or will think of doing an event, and then all of a sudden, like, people get a bunch of stuff and they just get stuck, right? So, I find that happens to people all the time. And as we shared yesterday, and I'll keep sharing with you, there are only two things that personally I care about in any of these sessions: the fact that you implement the stuff and that you're happy as a result of it. So like people say, what does success look like? What are your KPIs? Like, how do you think about what work do you do with the group? It's implementation and happiness. If we can get you to do the work that you signed up for, and then you're happy as a result of it. And I use the word happiness because when things are going well in your business and your life, you're happy. When they go well and only one, you're not happy. It's a pretty simple formula, right? So those are the things you focus on. So today, I'm going to share with you what this book is. I'm going to kind of just run you through it. And then we're going to actually sit here and help you plan out your first event. Would that be okay with you guys today? So you're going to leave with actual things to do. These things will be written out. You'll have some commitments, and the whole 0 to 1 will be done, right? Because going from 0 to 1, I find, is the hardest thing. Just getting started. Once you get to 1, then the rest of it becomes kind of easy. So I always joke around. I could say that I could write a book called The Master of Zero, The Art of Starting Over Again, right? It's a cool little catchy title, but I'm very good at helping people get from 0 to 1. So without further ado, let's pull up our playbook. So we'll share this, and this will be uploaded by 5 o'clock today into our platform. So this is a playbook. Now, pro tip, right? The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to find an accountability partner, right? So everyone take a moment and put into the chat box who wants an accountability partner and start connecting with each other. Why am I saying find an accountability partner? Because the reality is when we plan our first event, it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, especially if you've never done it before. So the goal is to do it with somebody else. So I want everyone to direct action, start networking yourself into this chat box. And everyone that says me, reach out to someone else that says me, or you'll go back into the group text after and start connecting with each other, right? And look, if I were doing this, I would just put my email in here and say, hey, I'm interested in hosting a group. If you're interested, email me, and then be a leader. If you have an admin, have them help you with this as well. So we'll leave it to you to connect with each other, but this is a good way to highlight who is looking for an accountability partner. So we'll give everyone a minute to do that. All right, good. Now that that's done, let's keep on going. So look, what we really start talking about is identifying your core four, which is the four areas, or it could be three for some, where your business is really coming from. And then after you go through and you do that, you know which part correlates to your GCI. And the reason we started here is this is where you want to focus your time, money, energy, and resources on events. Now, let me just pre-frame by saying this. No one has to do a large event. No one has to only do, like, if you feel better doing a one-on-one coffee, you could do a coffee. You could do a lunch with somebody. You could do a lunch of 4 people. You could do a happy hour. There's so many different ways to do this. There's no wrong way to do this. The only wrong way is no way, right? Because look, we spend so much time like trying to find new business when these people already know who you are, they've already transacted with you, or they already send you business. It's a very easy business model. So as you can see here, we have mapped all this out for you. Nurturing your core four, seasonal events, family fun day, photo shoots, 21 plus events, VIP client dinners, end of year client appreciation events, fitness classes, golf outings, FAQs. So based on us giving you all of these different things, do you think that you'll be able to pick one event that you could do if we gave you all the steps with it? Hit yes if you agree. All right, so the first thing I want you all to do is this. We're going to pick the kind of event we want. So here's some seasonal events. And here are the other events. So on your piece of paper, the first thing I want you to do is commit to a type of event that you want to do. And once you've committed to that event, hit done in the chat. Let's see how many people did it. And this is where I start scrolling around the screens to see who's not doing anything. We're going to get 90% of how to get this done started today. Perfect. Now, the next thing I want you to do is commit to a date. Now, for most people doing this for the first time, I suggest August, September, October, at least 60 days out, 45 to 60 days, as much as 90, depending on like how overwhelming this feels for you. If this feels very overwhelming for you to do one 90 days out. So the next thing I want you guys to do is commit to a date. Like it could be October, it could be November. Ideally, the more precise you are, the more you have something to hold yourself accountable to. When you, as you put the dates in, put the date in the chat. This is the way we'll kind of just all keep this going. And then I'll start walking you through like the actual planning part of it. And look, in the end, this is something new we're trying, right? We listen to your survey. So if you guys all say that this type of stuff is terrible, it'll never happen again. If you like it, we'll do more of it. right? And that's really the fluidity of the way that we're doing these programmings. And that's why those surveys are so important in the end. It's literally each week we're reading all this stuff, figuring out how can we improve your experience and how can we make sure that you implement all the stuff that we're learning. All right, so we have a lot of answers here, right? So a good amount of us have put something in. Some people might be listening, some people might be driving, so we'll keep going. So now that you have all of this figured out, right? Then the next thing you want to figure out are invitations. Now, I always think of like a brand when it comes to this. Think of the five senses, right? Like what can you see? What can you touch? What can you smell? Like, start thinking about how this all goes. So I suggest everyone gets a written, why am I drawing a blank here? An actual printed invitation, right? So whatever event you're doing, type that in and write the word invitation and click images on Google. There'll be like 100 different pre-made event invitations that you can just look at for inspiration and share with somebody, right? As opposed to starting from scratch, which will never get done. So it's important to have a nice envelope, a nice thick invitation. It should be handwritten with a stamp, right? So people should know that like you put thought into this is important. So the first one is like the actual physical invitation. The second one to follow is like a paperless post. You took the words right out of my mouth, Wiki. And it's a digital way of keeping track. The third thing you're going to need is an RSVP date. When are you going to need like a head count? Now, put an asterisk next to this and write time block to make calls. Why am I telling you to call people? All of you came here to Compass. Everyone that's a principal agent was probably recruited. Remember when the recruiter was calling you and they were saying, hey, it'd be really great if you came to Compass. Like, we really want your business. We think this would be great for your brand, and all those other things. Who does not like to be courted? Everyone does. Same thing with your clients. So I could say to somebody, I always love calling on Holly. Holly, I really, I really appreciated seeing you on these calls for like literally the entire year. And, we have an event coming up and it's a happy hour in Atlanta. And it'd be great if you could actually come and we could share a drink in person, right? Like something like that would go a long way, right? But you cannot just sit there and just send an invitation, send this digitally. All of those things are amplifiers to experiences, right? And remember, no one cares how much, what you do until they know how much you care. So the other thing is, someone asked us in the morning session, how branded should this be? These people all know who you are and they all have already transacted or sent you business. You do not need to make this feel like a sales event. You should focus on the experience that you're trying to create, right? So look, 0 to 1, you need to lock in what the event type is. 1 to 2, you need an event date. 2 to 3, you need an invitation or RSVP system. 3 to 4, you need to plan on how to court these people and reach out to them, right? 4 to 5 is you need to lock down a venue, the photographer, the happy hour, whatever it is, and establish a full budget. Has anyone planned an event and really sat in advance and then budgeted and connected with sponsors? And the goal is to try to put as little of your own money in as possible. Right. So the next part is lock down venue, people, and create a budget in advance, right? You need to get proposals. So now here's what we could show you in here. So if you go through these seasonal events, you look at Family Fun Day, you look at family photo shoots, where will you hold it, choosing the photographer. We've outlined all of these things in here for you. 21 plus event, VIP client dinner, end of year event, down to how much should I spend, right? Fitness classes. Now here's my favorite, sponsorship FAQs. Like, how do I get money from other people? Right? So we could literally do an entire session on this, but number one, how much should you ask for? We hear this the most. I don't know the nature of your relationships. And it's kind of like talking out of turn to just give a blanket answer. We do give you email templates that you can send people, though. Right. And so there are two types of vendor relationships, the ones that are existing and the new ones that they're trying to develop with you. And let's start with the existing people. Number one, if you have a vendor that you send a lot of clients to, that their mutual clients will be here and they don't want to spend money, it is time to reevaluate your relationship. You will no longer be helping people make hundreds of thousands of dollars for bottles of wine, Christmas cards, and maybe a meal. And some of you don't even get that. So hit yes if you have a lender that you send 5 or more transactions a year to in the chat. If I could pull up the Jerry Maguire clip and I had a slide deck and I was doing it, it'd be like to show me the money slide. If these people do not want to contribute, find a new person. It's pretty simple. Unless they have like some Rain Man style unique ability that you can't find someone else, you need to find someone that wants to be a partner with you. Jenna, I don't know your relationship, so I don't know what someone should ask. So if your lender sends you referrals and buyers, then they're a partner, right? You're getting something out of the relationship. But you can still ask, just like you have marketing budgets, they have marketing budgets too. And if they don't, they're lying to you. So in the end, when you're doing this, you don't want to, one, have bear the entire cost on yourself, right? Number two, what are they really paying money for? For your relationship, right? And being able to attend the event and being really clear on that, right? If they're mutual people or it's somebody new, they're going to spend money to build a relationship with you. So it doesn't, like, when you start working with vendors, you might agree for them to sponsor and you might just send an email out about their services to all the people on your list. And that might be a huge value add. You might do a deal with a lender or a title person or an escrow company, and you might have lunch with them, and that's their opportunity of getting into your network. People offer us stuff for free all the time. So if you start thinking about it, how can you be resourceful in getting money from other people? So look, a lender could give you money. Your real estate photographer could show up and take pictures for you and not charge you for the event, right? If you have a videographer, it could be the same thing. If you have other areas that you buy a lot of floral arrangements and stuff, people will contribute. Everyone's budget is different, right? So don't get stuck on the budget of like, there's no ideal number. It's like, there's so many different things in your business, who you are, where you are financially. I would encourage everyone to start somewhere that's manageable, right? Where like the amount of money that you spend is not uncomfortable. We had one guy adamantly say that, that I'm cheap and I just won't spend money. But that means you're like spending money and time in other places, right? You know, Marianne had a great point here. She says, I don't believe you need to say sponsored on anything. Just give your clients a gift to take home with the vendor's info on it. The vendor should also be there to talk to people, make relationships. 100% spot on. And if the person is interested in having their name on everything, then that tells you who they are and how they think about this. You want people in alignment with your brand, who you are, the values and the experiences you have. So think about it like this. When we do these large events, right, we focus on two things. It's the experience you have at the event and what happens after. Meaning, like, we're always obsessed of what are they talking about? How do they feel? What happened for them? What happens to them when they go back home? How are they thinking about the time that they spent there? Did they make new connections? And I find if you over fixate on the client experience and what happens after and the conversations that they're going to have about the event and what they did and how awesome the photo shoot was and how they're excited, like people start looking forward to these things and the business just comes. Right. So like if you do a fall photo shoot once and they have kids, they like it. I would encourage people, if I did a photo shoot, to get the best picture from the photographer, make a cool frame and send it to them. Then the next year they come twice. They're like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like I have new fall photos of my kids. Now the third year, they're like literally looking forward to this. Right. And this becomes part of people's annual habits and planning. And when you become that for other people, that's how they keep sending you business, because now you're an ongoing part of their conversation in life. Does that make sense to everybody? Right. So if we go through this now, we have an accountability partner. We have an event and timing. We understand the invitations, paper, e-follow-up, phone calls, RSVP date. The courting makes people feel better because it shows that you really want them there. You know, you need reminders that go off the day before, the day of, photographer, budgets, sponsors. And now let's go through how to plan this. So do you know how I gave you all this information and it sounds really good, but then you could go and still get stuck? Here's what you need to do. You guys all see normally that big yellow Post-it that's behind me. So buy a bunch of extra large Post-its, find a big wall, like a blank wall. And here's what you do. Put 3 or 4 of those Post-its down. Now you're literally mapping out the entire experience in advance, right? You're going to say they get this invitation, then they get this paperless invitation, then they get a phone call from me, then they get this, then they get this, then they get this. And you're literally going to map out all the things that you have to do and all the things that happen for a client. The things that happen for a client do in one color, the things that you have to do yourself do in another color. And at the end of it, walk away from it and come back to it the next day. Now, the first time you're doing it, your brain is going to be focused on just getting it done and everything else. The second time you're looking at it, you're going to critique it, like what's missing? What can I change? How can I make it better? Think about your buyers when they go through a house, right? They get really excited. They love the house and they're like, you know what? I'm going to make an offer. This is great. They do it. And then the second time that romance phase is over and they're like, wait, what about this? What about this? I want to check this. I want to check that. And that's just how human nature is, because that's how our brains work. It's the same exact thing when they plan. But if you can't map out that end-to-end client experience, you're going to get stuck. Now, before we kind of wrap up, a couple of things. Everyone put the name of the event that they want to do in the chat. Chirag, is your degree in psychology? No, I don't have a degree in psychology. I have actually a communications degree, but I've been obsessed with like people watching, psychology since I was like a kid. And when I was in college, I used to go, you know, out to lunch with my psychology professor and talk to him about my infatuation with people watching. So to truth be told, I've been fascinated by human behavior and why people do the things they do, and trying to figure out what the gap is how come someone wants to do something and they really actually want to do it, but it never happens for them year after year after year. So my kind of obsession has been figuring out how to fill the gap and get people to live the life that they want to live. Right. And that's both in business and personally. So I don't know how I actually really don't have any like training in any formal psychology. So put your events in. Now, the last thing is we're going to put up a poll. Why do we put up the polls? Because we need to know what you think of these sessions. And if you're putting a 1, a 2, or a 3, please write in the comments what could have made it a 4 or a 5, right? No one is exempt from feedback. I don't think I'm perfect. I think I make plenty of mistakes like every other human in the world, but I want to know how this can be better for you. Our team and myself go through all of these things. So it's fine if you don't like it. I expect there be some people that don't like it. You're never going to please everybody. But we want you to take this event playbook and take action, right? So if you guys can take a moment and fill out the survey and let us know some comments, that's perfect. And while everyone does that, we'll kind of wrap up on this note. We're going to keep adding to this as we continue to make sure that you guys have things that you can implement into your business. Now, as a coach, I always tell people, if you think every week you're just going to implement new stuff and do it, that's just not how this works. There's an ongoing commitment to growth. After this 6 months, there's going to be another 6 months and another 6 months. And it's a consistency of you guys keep coming back month after month after month, year after year after year, and get better. You look at professional athletes and you look at Michael Jordan, you look at Kobe Bryant, you look at Tiger Woods. These people continue to practice. They don't stop. Right. And we encourage you to do the same thing, because the practice is what builds confidence. And the confidence allows you to take action, and the actions give you momentum. So this is just really the beginning of our journey, right? This is our first time really doing this kind of deep dive with people. And, in September, our team building program will launch. And, we kind of made this with you in mind that says, as your business grows, there are different tracks that you can go on and you can continue to grow with us. So we have about 60% of the people have taken the poll. Everyone else, if you could click, leave some feedback, it is greatly appreciated. For the people that gave me a 1, so there's 8 people that have sub 4 or 5, please put some feedback and let us know how we can make this better for you. And then we'll take the feedback and we'll add it into our sessions going forward, and we'll all keep growing together. So at this point, we hope that you guys have a good blueprint to get started, a place to find an accountability partner, and you've locked in a date. So hit yes if you guys feel confident that after today that you guys all can do an event. Get an idea of where everybody is. Or can you message Holly how she can give feedback on this survey? I think there should be a place where you can leave it. So Brian Morse has offered to link up with anyone. He's an experienced event planner. The survey should just pop up on your screen, Anne. And look, we all have these accountability sessions after. So I encourage you all to leave here, go on there, make your calls, start connecting with people. And look, remember, if you don't have time blocks to take advantage of the stuff you learn and implement it, you guys are missing the mark. So make sure you at least block off an hour a week to take what you learned here and apply it to your business so you can grow. As always, everybody, with love in my heart, I love you all. I hope everyone has a great day. And tomorrow we do have an expert mentor session with a tax planner. So that will be a treat. So if you have not signed up, please make sure you do. And I'll see you all soon. Bye, everybody.